Hey creative cousins, welcome back to my channel. I'm Renita, aka Lene with Lene Creations, and today we're just gonna go through some of my sewing plans, what I am doing and what I did for the month of April, and then I'll just kind of run down some of the ideas that I have for May, and then we might get into some of those different plans for June. It might have a little bit of spillover, but anyway, let's get started. Okay, so for the month of April, I think the biggest thing that I accomplished was the twins' Easter outfits. So this year I decided to go super casual. I didn't want to do anything super fancy, so I did the preppy polo by Ellie and Mac for my son. And then I did I think it's called the Collins dress. I'll put a picture here of both of them here so you can see it. But I think it was a Collins dress by Ellie and Mac as well. So both of them were super casual, and I made my go because I said I needed to be done early. I didn't want to do last minute like I was last year. So I got that goal done. Those were done. But maybe Easter was yesterday, so I think they were done maybe like 2 weeks ago. So I was on it. I had to be on it because I'm like I don't want to wait until the last minute. So that was like my number one goal for the month of April. And then secondly, of course, sewing up orders for the Genesis bag, and then also some extra custom orders for different bags that some people wanted. So again, those are like the main things for the month of April. I also did have a goal of kind of strengthening my social media. I'm still working on it. It's a learning curve with all these different social medias and how they work and how you kind of have to build like your community. So I'm still working on it. I'm still trying to push out content. Some people know I have some personal things going on, but I'm trying not to let that stop me from, building my community, my sewing community, my crafting community, with content. So that was just, a recap of April. I kind of did some side things here and there. I did the strap from Sarah Merriam. I forget the name of it. I'll put a picture. Here's the picture of it right here. But I did complete that. I made a list of some of the things that I kind of wanted to do throughout the year. So that was just kind of like some administrative stuff. So, but the overall goal, I got those done. So I'm kind of happy about those. Okay, now for the month of May, I don't think it's a long list, but it seems like it's a long list because I yeah, it's a lot going on. But anyway, first things first, I've kind of gotten away from kind of sewing some garments for myself, and I did express that on my social media that, of course, through weight gain and some other stuff going on, I just haven't felt the need or the want to sew some garments for myself. So I do have some things that I want to sew for myself, and I'll get into those in a second. But first things first, I made a plan to try to release one bag pattern a quarter. So I made my goal for the first quarter, working on the second bag for the second quarter. I think I'm almost there. So if I could make one more like muslin, testing the pattern out with some different stabilizers, then I could try to maybe search for my pattern testers next week and then run that for like 2 weeks, and hopefully, fingers crossed, that I can get the pattern released by the end of May. That is my number one thing, and that's what I'm working on to try to make sure I meet my goal for the second quarter to have another pattern. So that's my number one thing. Also, with that, comes two other major things that I have to do. So the bag pattern calls for a flip lock or a turn lock. So I have to do a tutorial on how to do that. So that's to come as well. So I have to make time to make a video for that. And then also the tutorial itself for the pattern. So those are two big things that I want to make sure that I get done for the month of May. And then as far as bags, so even though I have my bag pattern, I've been just kind of going off on what my mood is for what I want to sew for myself, or just testing out a pattern to see if I like it or not. So with that being said, I'll just kind of continue to let my mood or how I feel kind of guide me on what I want to sew as far as bags. I do have two things in mind that I'm thinking. The first one is the Saya Sidekick by Lynn's Handmade. Here's a picture of that right here. I have been eyeing that for a little bit, so I bought the pattern. Just I want to make sure I have the right materials to make it a cute bag, and possibly keep it for myself instead of putting it on the website. So I've kind of been eyeing that one. Also by Sherelle and Ron, she has I think it's called the Harlow, picture of that here. So again, those are two that I've kind of been eyeballing. We shall see. I'm just trying to get through testing the bag pattern release for May. But those are two that I've been eyeballing. So I think I am going to try to make time to get those done. Make sure I get some right materials for those. So maybe we shall see. But those are kind of like, on my list to come. Again, I'm just going by feelings. However I feel, minus the orders from the Genesis bag or maybe the new pattern, I'm just kind of going off of how I feel. If I want to test a pattern out or buy a pattern or whatever the case may be, I'm just going by feelings for right now. And as far as garments, so again, I mentioned earlier that I kind of want to get back into sewing garments for myself. I've just been bag making without doing like garments for myself. So the first one that I have been eyeballing is Aronica's Nomi pattern, the ME 2083. It is jumpsuit, or kind of like what do you want to call this? Overalls. So I said jumpsuit, overalls. So I've kind of been eyeballing this pattern. I want to make sure that I get the right materials. So I went through, like, kind of did like an inventory of like all of my fabric that I had, and a lot of it is stuff for bags, of course, because I'm a bag maker, but a lot of it is like knits, and this one calls for cotton blends, chambray, light denim, light twill, linen blend. So I don't have a whole lot of that in my stash, and if I do, it was something that I was making for the kids, and I definitely don't have enough to make this. So I'm searching for the right materials to make this, but this is on my list of things that I possibly want to do for the month of May. Second one is, okay, so I had to pause. I thought I had it written down in my notes so I wouldn't forget, and then I still forgot it. But anyway, the second one is a picture here, but it's the Freya suspender jumpsuit by Petite Stitchery. So I kind of saw somebody post, and I'm like, oh, that's adorable. So, maybe I want to sew that up. So I'm thinking that might be in my plans as well for the month of May. So we shall see. But those are the two patterns as far as garments that I have kind of like planned out, or that I'm thinking about doing. So it kind of sounds like it's kind of packed in there with all of these different plans and what I want to do. who has time to do this with a husband, 2 kids, and a full-time job. But I'm gonna try to make sure that I have some time to do this to make sure I get meet my goals, because I have been, trying to work on writing down the stuff, making sure that I hit my goals. And if I don't hit my goals, it's not that big of a deal, that it's not going to end. But, it's kind of important when you write something down and you accomplish it. You kind of feel good about yourself for doing that. So, but yeah, those are my plans. Hopefully I can get them, all done, finish up the month of May. Sewing up some more Genesis bags and some custom orders, but I'm just gonna make sure that I try to get it done. So these are my goals. I've written them down. Hopefully they'll get done. So, but yeah, I just want to thank you guys for watching my video. Hopefully, this will kind of push somebody else to make sure that they get their goals done. And then also you can hold me accountable. Now that I've shared what I'm thinking with you guys, you can definitely hold me accountable to try to make sure I get them done. And I could do the same for you guys, but that's neither here nor there. But thank you so much for watching my video. And always, as always, happy crafting, happy sewing.